Chag Pesach Sameach. Growing up in Orlando, I heard constantly about how Main Street in the Magic Kingdom was the busiest section of walking path in the world. More people passed through that area, leading from the entrance to the park all the way sort of up towards Cinderella's castle, than just about anywhere else. And then, when I got to college, I was told that the main square at the University of Florida, Turlington Plaza, was actually more densely packed during certain times of the day. You'd see students hurrying through, either heading to another class or to get food, or trying to stop at any of the tables that different organizations had set up along this plaza. I bring this up because this week, during the week in which we Jews across the world celebrate our ancestors' exodus from Egypt, their freedom from slavery, we have seen an unfortunately growing number of college campuses around the country conquered by pro-Hamas students. Let's be clear for a second, these students are not just anti-Zionist, which is a phrase that has lost all semblance of meaning. When you're chanting, "We love Hamas," and "Go back to Poland," you deserve to be called what you are, which is anti-Semitic. This week, we read a very short parsha, which has been designated for this particular Shabbat that occurs in the middle of Pesach. In these few verses, Adonai promises to lead the Israelites into the Promised Land. And he explains the Israelites' half of the covenant. Of course, these are theologically incredibly important details, stuff that we need to know as Jews. But this week, I feel called to write about more modern events. This Monday night, 4 days ago, 75 members of our community gathered for our Pesach Seder here at UCF Hillel. The event went off perfectly. We prayed together and we celebrated the Jews' freedom as millennia of our ancestors have done. But, as you might expect, the night was not without its bittersweet elements. We recognized that our Jewish brothers and sisters taken hostage by Hamas were then approaching their 200th day of captivity. And we also knew that Jewish students at these besieged campuses would not be able to gather nearly as freely as we were. Since Monday, we have in fact seen an escalation of these pro-Hamas encampments around the country. Even here at UCF, which has been remarkably calm since October 7th, today there will be a rally that, in the words of the flyer, is for solidarity with Gaza, end the occupation, end student suppression at UCF, which the flyer says is followed by a list of supporting organizations: the YDSA, the SDS, the NAACP, the PSA, and the FLSPN, an alphabet soup of groups with disparate interests, but still the same desire to see Israel brought to its knees. As I read through the flyer with disgust, but thanks to the police and the university administration, no particular alarm, I thought of a line from this week's parsha. Beware of making a covenant with the inhabitants of the land against which you are advancing, lest they be a snare in your midst, which is Exodus chapter 34, verse 12. The sad reality is, over the past 200 plus days, I've had many conversations with students who've come to me expressing that the political environment in which they had previously felt safe and felt welcomed and felt embraced no longer felt so. These are groups and organizations to which these students had dedicated their time and energy to electing candidates they felt best represented their values. And these organizations were now openly shunning these students for having the temerity to be Jewish and to openly support Israel. And I want to be clear for a moment. I don't think that all pro-Palestinian activists are inherently anti-Semitic, nor that all of those politicians, individuals, public figures using this as an opportunity to bolster their, quote, pro-Israel bona fides have Jews' best interests at heart. The snares that particular verse of Torah referred to exist in all communities. When I was a graduate student, I attended a series of weekly lectures given by a very well-known historian. In one of these talks, he made the point that it's not particularly surprising that the Holocaust happened. What was surprising was that the Holocaust happened in Germany. Inarguably at the time, the most religiously liberal country on the continent. A place where, in the early 20th century, Jews were freer to live than almost anywhere else. What has cheered me over these last 6 long months is looking around and seeing the profound unity of the American Jewish world. Whether you are the most Orthodox to the most Reformed Jew, whether you adhere to the J Street or AIPAC or students supporting Israel ideology, there is a unity that we need to support Israel. There are still profound disagreements, as you might expect, but on one matter, it is clear that we remain unambiguously undivided. Am Yisrael Chai. Shabbat Shalom.